Hey, ScreenAgers. Welcome back to our ScreenAge Exclusives YouTube channel. I am really excited today to have the directorial creative team behind Haunters of the Silence with us today, Tatu-Heikkinen and Veleda Thorsson-Heikkinen. So welcome to you both. We're super excited to have you.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
so much for
Yeah.
having us.
Thank you
We
for
really
having us.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to say up top that if you want to watch their film, it is streaming on Tubi right now, so you have no excuse. Tubi costs no money. Definitely go watch it. Um, but I wanted to just start by asking you both kind of what inspired you to get into film.
Do you want to
Go
start
ahead.
there? Well, for me, I started out making little short films as a teenager with my friends, just kind of stupid, comedy, absurd comedy things. And then later I got into horror. But around the time I turned 18, most of my friends got into other interests. So I kind of stopped uh, doing film related things for quite a while actually, and it wasn't until a few years ago when we got the idea of making our own movie that I really got back into it.
And for me, I've been a photographer for years, and I've always wanted to extend that into video, but had no idea how. And then it turned out that he knew how to do that, so it just worked out perfectly. He helped me take that leap.
Yeah. Yeah, our
Yeah,
skills complemented each other really well.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the movie shows definitely your kind of photographic eye. I mean, every shot in it is just really gorgeous to look at. Which kind of leads into my next question, which is just kind of what filmmakers would you say you found kind of inspiring? And I was immediately thinking of like David Lynch when I was watching this movie.
Yeah.
But what would you say are some filmmakers that inspired you both?
Definitely the Addams Family, we have to say, because it was after watching The Deeper You Dig that we were like, wait, they did it. It was just them. They created this amazing piece of art. Why can't we try that? So definitely them. There was a film also called The Sound of Insects
Okay.
that was just incredibly beautiful to watch. And I used to photograph through fabrics and just using fabrics. So I would say that was a huge inspiration.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty much the same ones for me. Definitely the Adams family, Toby Poser, John Adams, and
mhm.
Zelda and Lulu Adams. Their film was probably the catalyst that made both of us realize that you can make a proper, really good looking, good sounding, professional movie with a very small budget and very little people. So
Mhm.
that's probably my biggest inspiration
And then
too.
also, not that we modeled it after that, but hopefully we will in the future. But directors like Tarkovsky and Bellatar, and just, I love those really slow moving, cinematic, gorgeous, where you could take a still from any moment in it and turn it into a print. That's really inspirational for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that really is what the Silence definitely achieves in its style. Now I know, Tatu, that you talked about just when you sent the movie to us at ScreenAge that it was sort of based on your real life experiences with sleep paralysis. But I guess I just wanted to ask you both how it came from that to the idea of, oh, this should be a movie.
um, I think yeah. After we saw The Deeper You Dig, uh, we got the idea that maybe we could make a movie, but it was kind of hard to come up with the proper idea for what kind of topic can we tackle with basically no budget. And well, I've had those experiences with sleep paralysis, and I figured that that's something that gives you a lot of creative freedom to overcome budgetary limitations. So it just kind of, I guess, the subject eventually just picked itself as I started writing the first version of the screenplay. Yeah, the
Yeah. Also, I would want to say we're also huge fans of the Newkirks, who are behind Hellier and stuff like that. And so that kind of content was very much pretty much a daily part of our lives.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
really got us to thinking about supernatural things and how we could incorporate that into art.
Yeah. The Newkirks, so they're husband and wife team who host a podcast called the Haunted Objects podcast, and they've
Mhm.
made a TV show called Hellier that really deals with supernatural phenomena in a
Mhm.
really from a really unique
Yes.
point of view, and we definitely drew a lot of inspiration from their ideas of the supernatural
Yeah.
into our
And their
yeah
documentary, The
yeah
Unbinding, too.
yeah
So yeah.
highly recommended watching.
Yeah.
Actually, The
Okay,
Unbinding is also on Tubi, so
Mhm.
maybe make a
awesome.
double feature out of Hunters the Silence and that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a perfect movie to do a double feature because it's like under an hour and a half. Totally pair
Yeah.
those two movies together. What a great idea. I did notice on IMDb that this is both of your first film. So I know you talked about your experiences with like short films and photography. Did you have any other kind of background before like making this movie?
Well, I went to it's not really film school. I went to well, my degree is officially called Bachelor of Arts and Culture, but it mainly dealt with videography, and so other than that,
Oh, your internship doing
yeah,
sound.
I did do a small internship for a sound studio. I didn't really enjoy my time there, but it taught me a lot about sound design. I think that was one of the things when we started working on this film. I knew that, well, I know exactly how to handle the sound design aspect professionally. So I wanted to put as much effort into that. And I knew that Veleda has the photography down. So basically, we knew that we can make a film that looks great and sounds great. So those were the two things that we put most emphasis into.
And I had absolutely zero prior experience with any of this. So
But
Yeah. Well,
you do have a lot of experience with
with
photography,
photography,
yeah.
sure.
And
Yeah.
actually, a lot of the shots in the film are photos instead of like
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
like photos that we overlaid film grain over to make it look like it's video. But
Yeah, there's a series where you see these abandoned buildings. Those are actually
mhm.
photos I took in a ghost town in Montana
Oh,
years ago.
wow.
So I was really happy to see those get used.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was also thinking of the scene in the tunnel
yeah,
where the Hatman is pursuing. That did look like it was kind of photos
yeah.
with
Yeah.
the overlay there, and it's such a cool sequence.
Mhm.
Yeah, for that scene, we shot a couple of different versions of it. We did do one where it was normal video, and then we did a version where it's a series of photos. And in the end, the photos portrayed an interesting kind of jarring
Mhm.
effect, and it kind of ties in with the stop motion sequence towards the latter part of the film. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I did also want to ask about the soundtrack because I do feel like this film is sort of a marriage between the cinematography and the soundtrack to sort of tell the story. So you mentioned your internship, and I was just wondering what the creative process was like in terms of creating that composition to go along with the cinematography of the film and tell that story.
yeah, well, what I did at my internship was mainly editing the sound, like the Foley sound to the film. So I didn't actually get to learn any of the recording part there, but I'm also a musician by my background. I've played in a lot of bands over the years. So the sound design and the music kind of or the sound design and the soundtrack kind of, I created them together to the film at the same time, basically. Um, I don't know.
Yeah. And we record all of our own sound effects, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
creepy things that you hear. We have just endless recordings of different animals. And every time we're going somewhere and something makes a cool creaking sound, we'll
Yeah.
record it. So we just have a huge library of stuff like that he's wonderful at manipulating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is something definitely I can point out is that every sound in the movie is recorded by us. We didn't
Hmm.
use any like sound libraries that
Wow.
Right.
we wanted it to be all created by us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds very grounded, like in the setting and world of the movie. All of the sounds don't feel like they were pulled from a sound library. Like they feel very authentic to the setting.
I'm
So
glad to
that's
hear
definitely
Yeah.
a testament to
that.
that. Yeah, so we're going through these questions. I'm gonna have to come up with more. But what would you both say is your favorite like shot or sequence from the film?
Hmm. That's a good question. I
Oh,
haven't
that's a
really
good
thought about
question.
that.
No, I haven't either.
Um,
Um, oh wow. I guess for me it would be the whole ritual drumming part
Hmm.
and the one with that kind of ties in with the goat skull and the human skull. And I like that
Hmm.
whole thing there.
yeah, I guess I would probably go with the same one, honestly. And actually, I think that was the first scene that we like wrote down on
Hmm.
paper. I knew I just want to have like a scene that depicts this ritual drumming as a metaphor to entering a trance state and a grounding, like a grounding ritual. And yeah, so I think it's probably the most effective scene of the film, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an effective scene. One that I particularly liked is where it's kind of flashing back and forth, and every time it flashes to the Hat Man, he's a little closer.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that scene kind of freaked me out. Honestly, it's
yeah.
just a really effective scene.
I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, yeah.
I'd say another scene that I think turned out much better than I was expecting it would be is when the sheet starts levitating over me
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
towards the end of the film, and that was actually based on another person's sleep paralysis experience, not mine.
okay.
John Hom, who did some of the soundtrack for the film and also plays the Hat Man. He had
Yeah, I
also had
saw that in the.
an experience with sleep paralysis, and that was his experience. So,
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot of the scenes are based on real sleep paralysis experiences.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that he also had kind of experiences, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
also kind of was part of the creative process there. Um, I guess my really only other question I had written down is just that I would love to know what you're working on next, if you have in mind like what your next project would be.
We actually have a few different things
yeah.
we're slowly working on.
Yeah, tell me about all of it.
Well, one of them, kind of the latest one, but the first one we'll start actively working on right now, is we want to do kind of a throwback to old silent films. So it's going to
Mm,
be a mixture of, I have a custom converted infrared camera. So we're going to be shooting with that because it just makes everything creepy when you shoot with that, and a regular camera. And that's, do you want to say what that's about?
Um, well, we're kind of still in the early stages of the script, but it's as of now, it's going to be taking place in the late 1800s, so kind of a period piece of a botanist that goes to the woods in Oregon to chart out the kind of plant life that's and collecting an herbal of the plant life there, and then supernatural things might or might not
Right.
happen. But that's kind of the premise, because Veleda is an amazing herbalist, and we wanted to do something that dabbles into that realm. And as I was researching horror films, I couldn't really find a horror film that was done with a main character that's an herbalist or botanist. So
Yeah.
it just seems like something new, maybe something unique. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that seems like untapped territory to me.
yeah,
Like there's so much interesting uh, ways to go with that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to do video with the infrared because that is by nature experimental, because until you're doing it, you don't really know what you're going to get. So
yeah.
that'll be fun. And then we're working on a documentary about my mom. So that's not horror related at all. That's just she's in the process of re-editing and rewriting a book that her dad was working on when she was a little girl. And so she's
Oh, wow.
decided now, all these years later, that she wants to finish it. So we're just doing a nice little documentary on that.
Yeah.
And then the third one we actually started last fall and ran out of autumn. So we have to pick up again.
Yeah.
And that's going to be where he's going to be starring in that one again. Since he's from Finland, it's going to be about a character who comes over from Finland. Mm-hmm. And weird things start happening.
Yeah.
We're still very much working on the script for that. We have some ideas, but yeah.
Well, super exciting that you're working on a bunch of stuff. Definitely feel free to send it our way. And I'm particularly excited that you're working on a silent project. We actually had a conversation on one of our podcasts after we watched The Passion of Joan of Arc, just remarking that so much can be done with silent film. And it's sort of a shame that we aren't still making silent films because there's so many excellent silent films out there. So very excited to
we both love silent films, and we've been watching a ton of them lately.
Yeah.
And it's like, we would really like to try and create a bit of that aesthetic mixed in with modern horror elements. But
like we want to make the film look and feel like it was maybe made in the late 20s or early 30s, but also utilizing editing and filming techniques that were not accessible at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we do want to do the whole, intertitles with text and no dialogue, which is not a huge jump from Hunters of the Silence since there's only one piece of dialogue in that film. So for people who were hoping for a more dialogue-heavy film will unfortunately be disappointed. But
Yeah, I would actually just wanted to kind of give you both the opportunity to, if anybody's watching this and hasn't seen Hunters of the Silence yet, like how would you kind of describe it in terms of like describing what kind of experience they could expect watching it?
Abstract, surreal, hopefully hypnotic. There is this kind of theme of hypnosis in the film, and we were kind of attempting to kind of cast this spell of hypnosis on the viewer with the film. And hopefully it works for some people. I know it's the type of film that's not going to be for everyone because it's so experimental and slow moving and maybe hard to follow, but I think it's more supposed to be taken as a sensory experience rather than as a story.
Yeah. And also very much for people who are into practical effects, since that was something that we were both very into.
Yeah, I mean, I was just honestly kind of shocked when you both included in your email that this movie cost under $3,000 to make, with how incredibly good it looks. And I know that that's partially due to your skill and talent, but also due to the practical effects that you used throughout the film.
Yeah, most of that money just went towards a small amount of props and some camera equipment. So luckily we owned most of what you see in there anyway, and we just filmed in our own house. So
that was really, really nice for the process, just being able to make this movie in our house, because reshoots were so easy. We could basically just pick any day that we felt like reshooting something. We didn't have that issue of having to just pick from shoots of a certain day. We could redo scenes at any time, and we actually did spend a lot of time reshooting the film. After the first draft of the film was ready, we ended up reshooting more than half of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it works out that your house, at least in the film, appears to be in this sort of remote location, which sort of adds to this grief and isolation theme. So it works out that it just fits perfectly in what you were trying to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have any other questions. I know this is a pretty short interview, but did you have anything else you wanted to plug? Any social media, anything like that?
Oh, I'll let you do that.
Well, I can plug our DVD version of the movie, which is available through Savocrylian Productions, which is our production company. It comes with the DVD and the soundtrack on CD.
Awesome.
So
we are big fans of physical media at ScreenAge Wasteland.
Oh, so are
thank
we.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for plugging that. That's awesome.
And
So
social medias, you can find the film on Instagram. It's Hunter of the Silence on Instagram.
Mhm.
And Veleda's on Instagram as Veleda Thorsson Photography.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
awesome. Well, we'll link all your stuff when we post it on this site. But thank you both so much for taking the time to talk a little bit about your film and your creative process. This has been super, super fun. So, and for screenagers who stuck with us, thank you for chiming in, and we'll see you all in the Wasteland.